Hi everyone, it's Tasleem here, and today's video is called Dance as a Conversation Between Bodies. Especially yours and you, your body and you, but also between the bodies of you and your partner, your dance partner. I love this idea of dance as a conversation because I think sometimes we forget that besides conversations through our vocal cords, through speaking, there are other ways that we can have conversations through writing, through expressive arts, dance being one of them, through movement, right? And sometimes we forget that dance, especially when we're partner dancing, can be a conversation, but it is also a conversation between us and our bodies. Our bodies have something to say. Our bodies are always talking to us. I've said this in many other videos. And if we learn to listen to what our body wants to say and form a relationship with our body and get to know our bodies, what feels good for our bodies, what feels safe for our bodies, what they want to explore, what they definitely don't like, the movements that don't feel good to them, the deeper we can go with the conversations with us and our bodies. And then that means that when we come together in the partner dance world with a partner on the dance floor, we can have amazing conversations on the dance floor with our dance partners. Now, again, these conversations are not verbal, they're through movement. Some of the best dances I've ever had in my life have been with people that I never exchanged one word with. Like, they never spoke to me verbally, I never spoke to them verbally. Even them just asking me for a dance was like just a handout, or they came up to me and had this energy of like I could feel that they wanted to ask me to dance, or it was like a cabeceo across the room in tango, and I was so glad that I accepted, because once the conversation happened from then on, it would continue to be a conversation through movement. It continued to be a conversation through body movement. And we, like, the exchange happened where both people, both me and the other person, we're getting to know each other, just like when you are having a conversation with someone. You don't just go up to someone and like start yelling at them because you're angry about something when you don't know them. You don't just like, start going into a story about something when you haven't even introduced yourself. Like, conversations have a flow, especially the really good ones. And I feel like that's the same in dance. Like, when I come to a dance and my dance partner is, feeling out what feels good in my body, like even the way that I'm just moving on the spot, and he's testing that out, and I'm testing out, like I'm getting a feel for how he likes to lead and what our connection is like, the conversation becomes like, it starts flowing and it starts inspiring me to feel safe to do, explore other movements, to go in directions that I never really thought I would otherwise. And it makes it fun, and it makes it me want to have more of that conversation in dance. And, just like in real life, when you sometimes meet someone, you don't know where it's going to go. You don't know what the conversation might be like. You might have gone up to the person thinking you're going to have like a 5-minute or 5-second conversation, but it ends up being, you just click, you hear each other out, you're giving each other space to say what you want to say, what the other person wants to say, and you also are acknowledging the great ideas that they're having and being inspired by them. And suddenly, like, instead of 15 minutes later, it's like 3 hours later, you're still having this amazing conversation. You're getting to know this person really in depth. And I really like deep conversations. Like, I have this habit of saying I am not big into small talk. And that's the same with me on the dance floor. I like to kind of dive deep into, it can still be fun, but I feel like for me, I love it when someone takes the time to feel out what feels good in my body and I feel heard. And then I can feel safe to play around and kind of be inspired by what their body is saying to me, and it becomes this conversation that I look forward to the next time and the next time and the next time. And just like in real life, when I might have thought, oh, I'm just going to dance with this person for one dance, and then it's such a great conversation with our bodies that 3 dances later we're still dancing together, like 3 dances in a row, because it just flowed. And that's the other thing about conversations, is that usually they are organic. Like, you might know what you want to say to someone, you might know kind of the topic, but we don't know how someone's going to respond. We don't know the exact words that they're going to use. We don't know the exact words that are going to come out of us. We let things happen organically in a conversation, and it's the same thing in a dance. Like, when you allow it to flow, you can feed off of each other's ideas and really feel appreciated and really like learn something from it. And in dancing, like, if I'm writing something on paper, you can see the phrasing, you can see the punctuation, you can see the spelling, you can see like when there's a comma or an exclamation mark, or whether it's like a 2-word sentence, or a long drawn out, stream of consciousness, kind of just run on sentence. But the thing is that in dance, that can be created as well. And I think it is. If we can, think about it more that way, it's actually really exciting and really fun to play around with. Because like, if you want to say something really abrupt and do a sharp movement and really get people's attention and kind of shock them, you might do a movement that's really big and bold, and it's like a 1-word sentence, and that's like an exclamation at the end of it, and it's not written down, it's just you show it in your body. Maybe you want the movement to be really flowy and long, and just kind of like it keeps going, stream of consciousness, and that could be like a run-on sentence. And maybe it's with your partner, and you and your partner are just like feeding off of each other, but it's like graceful and continuous. Maybe there's a pause, a breath, a moment where you just like hold each other, and you're in that music, in that space, but you're not traveling. It's not a quick movement. That's like a comma. That's like, you're taking a breather, but it hasn't ended yet. And when I see dance as a conversation, and when I see dance as like the dance floor as the paper, and we are the material that's like drawing on the paper or drawing on the canvas, like we actually become the paintbrush or the crayon or the charcoal or the pen and nib, like and the canvas or the paper is like the dance floor. We become the material that is drawing out in space, in 3D, these words, these conversations, and the amount of space that we're given to do this, the amount of appreciation we're given from the person that we're having the conversation with, whether it's our own body or with the body of the partner that we're dancing with, determines the quality of the conversation, and it determines the quality of the dancing. Like, for me, that is huge. And I think that the more that we take care of our connection, our relationship with our own body, the more we have conversations with our own body and get to know our own body, And the more that our partners are doing the same for their body and the conversations with their body, like getting to know themselves and how they like to move and what they want to say and what they're open to in terms of like playing around with different movements and practicing like opening up spaces for other dancers so that it doesn't feel like a jarring thing to do, then we have already developed our own sense of conversations with our own bodies. And when we come together with our partners, it becomes an even more amazing conversation in the dance between each other. Because now we are not only holding our own conversations and listening to what our bodies feel good with, but also our bodies are telling us, oh, look at your partner wants to do this. Like, I'm okay with that. Let's do this. And you might be like, oh, I'm really inspired by what he's doing, and I'm going to take it in this direction. We learn from the conversations that our partner has had with their own body, as well as the conversations that we're having with our own body. And together, the conversations can be unforgettable. I still remember I would say like the dances that I remember the most that will stick with me forever are conversations that happen with people where we had no words exchanged, but we were both listening to the conversation between our bodies. We were also very well versed in the conversations that in listening to the conversations that our body was having with ourselves, like with me and with that person. And in the end, going out on the dance floor and thinking of the dances as a conversation brings a whole other level to your dancing. I highly recommend it. I would love to hear your thoughts about this, and we'll talk to you again very soon.